Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Good morning, everyone from Eastern Canada and around the world who are participating in today's weekly Bhagavad Gita as it is reading. And this is by the use of modern technology, which has made Prabhupada's Vani incarnation easily accessible to all of us who have the tools to gather his association by his divine mercy. This is the wonderful opportunity we have for this ability to understand Prabhupada in association with other devotees through his Vani incarnation. So I was reading in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna Gita, this morning, how Prabhupada was explaining that one has to perform many austerities and penances throughout his life in order to make advancement in transcendental knowledge. But Prabhupada very clearly specifies that if you get the mercy of the pure devotee of Krishna, then you can easily understand through his blessings the transcendental position that we are meant to find in this human form of life. Because such a life is very rare. There are so many different species of life. And Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita that the soul is very small. It's actually, Prabhupada further explains in his purport that it's 1/10,000th the tip of a hair size. So the idea is that it's minute. Therefore, the soul is able to enter into the mosquito. It's able to enter into the fly. It's able to enter into the bird. Into all these small species of life, Krishna is able to enter as the soul, super soul. So Krishna and the soul itself are capable of entering these different bodies. So the soul is very minute, but at the same time, by the blessing of the pure devotee, because it's a transcendental science, we can understand who we are in the human form of life. Even though we've got a bigger body, the soul is still minute. It's actually not that big, but bigger than the small insects. So there's no difference between the guru and his instructions found in his books, lectures, letters, and morning walks. By assimilating Prabhupada's instructions and practicing them daily with our regular programs, a disciple, all of us, can become released from the bondage and bewilderment of material attachment and material existence. Prabhupada's work is a manifestation of his transcendental potency as the bona fide representative of Krishna. He is our guru for all generations and for all time and place on this earth. As soon as one accepts Prabhupada as the bona fide spiritual master, he is at once given the opportunity to get out of the material confusion through his Vani incarnation. So bogus guru will not do that. And Prabhupada was very specific in telling us, if you have a bogus guru, you cannot make advancement in spiritual life. So we should avoid any kind of pretenders or posers or posturers in the disciplic succession coming from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yes, and those that pose themselves as such gurus who are fake, they're not the friend of the conditioned soul. They're actually, it's very similar to the Bhagavad Gita in that there was a war between the Kauravas and the Pandavas. So irreligious principles, and that was a fratricidal war, by the way. So there's a parallel we can see, Krishna Katha, that we have a situation here where some people have misrepresented the philosophy for their own personal motives, and this is wrong, and we will not tolerate it. No, because it is misleading people, and this is the greatest sin. When you do that, you make Krishna an object of trade, of business, so you can have money and worship and position in this world. This is a mistake, because we're not the body, we're the spirit soul. Prabhupada's global preaching success is a further demonstration of his transcendental potency and reveals his transcendental non-dual message of Krishna consciousness. His messages at once bring the aspiring disciples to the level of real knowledge. As soon as the disciple follows his instructions carefully, he's delivered from the material ocean of repeated birth and death. So this cycle of samsara, this is what we're currently situated in. And through this transcendental opportunity, one can end the repetition of birth and death. Through strict following, a bona fide disciple can realize his guru is actually present through sound vibration. This, of course, is being misunderstood by many people, and they think that Vapu, the physical form of the spiritual master, is the only critical way to understand Krishna consciousness. No, this is a big mistake, very big mistake. And when you study the books come alive with transcendental vitality for the spirit soul. And you can read the Bhagavad Gita over and over and over and again, and it's ever fresh because of its dynamic nature. And Prabhupada is living in sound in his purports. Through strict following, the disciple can realize his guru is actually present through sound vibration. His Vani incarnation in sound vibration will live on into the future by his transcendental mercy for anyone's benefit who cares to listen. To his instructions, we were blessed with his personal association on many occasions while he was here, but we still relish his association in his Vani incarnation. Yes, he lives on in sound incarnation, but one has to apply himself to get that understanding day after day, and that is the best use of time. By the grace of the Lord, a pure devotee can raise one to the platform of absolute knowledge, and there is no more chance to become once again entangled in the dense forest of material darkness and illusion. After the disappearance of Lord Krishna, Arjuna felt great remorse, but as soon as he remembered the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita, he was once again reinstated in transcendental bliss. This is the lesson we should all follow as aspiring disciples and servants of Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada told us he will never die, but live on in his books. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. We're going to move forward with the reading of the diaries of Srila Prabhupada here. Very interesting understanding of his pace in spreading the Krishna consciousness movement. Even when he was in India, he had no movement, but at the same time, I see here we have a situation. I sent the diaries to Rupesh. Sorry for that. And no response. Excuse me for 1 second. I'll get these pages. They're already posted. Technical difficulties in dealing with the internet. Excuse me. This is the magic of the internet, actually, that we're able to do these things. And let's see if we got some pictures here. Yes, we do. Oh, I could have sent more. There we go. There we are. Sorry about that, Prabhus. Thursday, the 13th of May, 1965. So this is a few months before his departure on the Jaladuta. So on Thursday, May 13th, Prabhupada writes, to call phone 72219 at 9 a.m. Brajlal D. Kanakia, Ranchor Das Kaniswadi, Balabai Patel Road, Bombay 4, first floor appointment, Girgam Post Office to call phone. So like that was Thursday of May. There we go, see? And then Friday, to see Janman Das Madajoy at 2 p.m., Forbes Street, 4344. Kalagusa, Saison Boulevard, second floor. We're creating meetings Saturday on the 15th. So rupees 25 under postal receipt. So he's starting to keep track of money in the diary here, and give the address of Sri Pandit Sri Krishna Sharma, Delhi, similar to 3402 Gorachand Goswami, Vrindavan. I'm moving forward on Sunday the 16th. There we have. So the next 3 days, there's only one comment here. It's 9 a.m. Dixit Setha Brajalal at his house in Garanga. So he's moving ahead very quickly. Here we have a picture of Sumati Maharajji. As all of you, if you've been to our classes, I was asked by her in Bombay to come visit her at her estate. And this was when she was visiting, when Prabhupada was in the process of constructing the temple in Juhu Beach. And I was there, and she asked me to come and see her and do an investigation to see what kind of devotee Prabhupada was cultivating. Srila Prabhupada had a speaking engagement in the early 70s with Sumati Maharajji, the proprietor of the Sindhi Steam Navigation Company. She is referred to on the opposite page as Sunatbian. Srila Prabhupada wrote to her after his arrival in America, and this letter is reproduced in the Reflections chapter on page 86. Also, Srila Prabhupada refers humorously to this 1965 meeting in a conversation on page 83. So we'll read those later. On Friday the 21st, Sri Brajlal, again, getting back to his step-by-step progress here. He phoned Chandrasekhar, C. Dikshit, took food and rest, C. Sumati Ben, Dharmashi Khatu, Gokul Das, Allied Publisher Interlection Letter for C.D. Deshpat, copy of Sachi Davies. Mr. Choksi met in presence of Sumat BM. Choksi said as soon as the following things presented, the free pass will be issued. So he had to get these documents ready for his departure, his passport, his visa, and a P form. So step by step, lots of details. He's determined to go, absolutely determined. Now remember this, everyone, he's by himself. You can see that, no help from anyone. So he purchased a ticket on Thursday the 27th for Delhi, sleeping reserved on date starting at 840 Janta Express ticket number and reservation. So he's making his journeys. On Wednesday to the 9th, Sunil Razida, Post Office Box, Blockman, Photo Man, Letters to Friends. The Hindi note was pinned to the diary of the June 9th entry. It reads, reddish purple kumkum powder, which is put on the forehead, 5 tolas. And on Friday the 11th, one photo, a letter from Scindia, from India to Pennsylvania and back. And on Sunday the 13th, a ticket purchase for Bombay for starting 22nd, 6:65 at night. So that's June 22nd on the Diandrun Express. And there are the numbers and details. So all this preparation's going on, and we're going to see the diary unfold as Prabhupada's mission unfolds moving forward when he arrives in America. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and the Sankirtan movement that he began throughout his life, actually. It was a lifelong mission that he undertook to please his spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. We're going to move ahead with the reading and discussion of Bhagavad Gita. First, we'll have the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Jai Amuspa Paramangsa Paribhrajagacharya Sitaresvara Samadhati Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Gopal ki Jai Ananta Kodi Vaishnavin ki Jai Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki Jai Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Mo Gopinath Sam Khand Radha Khand Giridhar ki Jai Vrindavan Dham ki Jai Navadvip Dham ki Jai Ganga Mai की जाए जमुना माई की जाए गुरु द्वारका धाम की जाए स्वामी तो भक्तविंद की जाए और ग्लोरी टू जय और ग्लोरी टू जय थैंक यू वेरी मच
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you from Srimad Bhagavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskritya Narayanam namaskritya Naram cheva narottamam Naram cheva narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat Tato Jayam Udirayat. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam and Srimad Bhagavad Gita, after offering respectful obeisances, 1. To the personality of Godhead Narayana, 2. To the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3. To the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4. To Srila Vyasadeva, the author, from Srimad Bhagavatam 1-4. Thanks everybody for participating in this program of reading and discussion based on the Bhagavad Gita. We should note right from the beginning that these readings and discussions are based upon the original 1972 non-adulterated, non-edited, non-interpolated original edition, Macmillan edition of the Bhagavad Gita. And all synonyms, translations, and purports are from His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. As we do every week, we will be reciting a few Sanskrit verses with translations, which was introduced by Srila Prabhupada himself early on in 1966. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnanam Janashalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa kada mahyam dadati svapadantikam. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagar Jatam Sahaguna Lalit Raghunathan Anvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master and unto the feet of all Vaishnavas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami, along with his elder brothers Sanatana Goswami, as well as Raghunath Dasa and Raghunath Bhatta, Gopala Bhatta, and Srila Jiva Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, along with Advaita Acharya, Gadadhar, Srivas, and other associates. I offer my respectful obeisances to Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna, along with their associates Sri Lalita and Vishaka. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpati Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostuti. O my dear Krishna, you are the friend of the distressed and the source of creation. You are the master of the gopis and the lover of Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. I offer my respects to Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold, and who is the queen of Vrindavana. You are the daughter of King Vrishabhanu, and you are very dear to Lord Krishna. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. As we have discussed before, welcome everyone to this reading and discussion based upon Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the original version of 1972, the Macmillan edition. Somebody recently asked me, why is it that both you and Vishwakarma keep referring always to this 1972 non-edited, not interpolated original edition? Why is this being repeated all the time? Well, because this is very important. Just like we heard Vishwakarma Prabhu was reading from Prabhupada's diary to explain for us to absorb the mentality and the mood that Srila Prabhupada had when he came to this country, to United States of America. Just yesterday, somebody from Australia, a very good friend, who used to be Prabhupada's chauffeur, by the way, a very nice devotee named Ugur Shrava, he sent me an appreciation of Srila Prabhupada from an American professor, I believe, at Princeton University, Dr. Thomas Hopkins. And the reason I'm mentioning this, it was quite amazing the way he was describing, just like what Vishwakarma Prabhu was reading about the diary. He was summarizing what Prabhupada did and why Srila Prabhupada's position was so unique. He came, as we know, to him, it was a foreign country with no help, no institutional help, no financial help, very little actual support. Nobody physically came to help him. And, you know, even though Jesus Christ 2,000 years ago did his preaching mission, at least he was amongst his people. They were speaking Aramaic. They were both in Judea. And basically, it was a familiar environment at that time. But Srila Prabhupada was in a totally foreign environment, completely foreign environment. And he was able to very systematically, very gradually, very humbly present the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. And under these circumstances, this Professor Hopkins very, very accurately said that what he did was very unique. This is a very great contribution of Srila Prabhupada, that he presented Krishna consciousness despite all sorts of difficulties, all sense of problems, also the obstacles. He just kept undeterred. He just kept going. He kept progressing. He kept preaching. And even though some people came and went, as we read in those diaries, there were instances when somebody stole Prabhupada's typewriter, they stole Prabhupada's recorder. You know, there was some people that were not very mentally steady in dealing with Srila Prabhupada. So this is our great opportunity to basically, our great fortune, that Srila Prabhupada has left these transcendental literatures as described by Vishwakarma Prabhu as his Vani incarnation. It is not that the Acharya is dead and gone and not available. No, we should never think like that. And those who want to substitute Prabhupada's eternal factual presence in his Vani incarnation with their own physicality, well, all we can say to them, well, good luck, because that is not the philosophy that Srila Prabhupada presented. It is not. Let us proceed now with our reading of Bhagavad Gita. And as we proceed, we hope that everybody will join at home with the Sanskrit recitation. Rupesh, please display the verses. Thank you. We are reading from chapter 11, text number 23 and 24. Rupam mahatte bahuvaktra netram mahabaho bahu bahudaram bahudamstrakaralam drishtva lokaha pravatitataham. Rupam, form, mahat, very great, te, of you, bahu, many, vaktra, faces, netram, eyes, mahabaho, almighty arm one, bahu, many, bahu, arms, uru, thighs, padam, legs, bahudaram, many bellies, bahudamstra, many teeth, karalam, horrible, drishtva, seeing, loka, all the planets, pravyatitaha, perturbed, tatha, similarly, aham, I. Translation, almighty arm one, all the planets with their demigods are disturbed at seeing your many faces, eyes, arms, bellies, and legs, and your terrible teeth. And as they are disturbed, so am I. Text number 24. Nabasprisham diptamane kavarnam vyattananam diptabhishala netram drishtva hitvam prabhatitam antaratma Dhritim navindami shamam cha Vishnu, nabasprisham, touching the sky, diptam, glowing, aneka, many, varnam, color, vyata, open, ananam, mouth, dipta, glowing, vishala, very great, netram, eyes, drishtva, by seeing, he certainly, tvam, you, pravyatita, perturbed, antaha, within, atma, soul, dhritim, steadiness, na, no, vindami, and have, shamam, mental tranquility, cha, also, Vishnu, or Lord Vishnu. Translation: O all-pervading Vishnu, I can no longer maintain my equilibrium. Seeing your radiant colors fill the skies and beholding your eyes and mouths, I am afraid. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shanyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyayam Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Bhagavad Vandanam Khadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadatehi Visheshataham Adadana Strinam Danter Idam Yachi Punaha Punaham Srimadurupa Padam Bhoja Dhulisyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavato Smyaham Sadadaso Asmi Sarvata Tat Kripa Pikshako Nityam Tat Prishta Satkaromi Svam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada, while he was in India, several times would go to various programs where people were presenting their explanation of Bhagavad Gita and its meaning and everything. So on one of such occasions, Srila Prabhupada went to a program and there was no deity of Krishna, just a little picture on the wall. And Prabhupada commented afterwards, where is Krishna? Why is it that they say that we are preaching from Bhagavad Gita, but yet there is no Krishna? Everyone is familiar that Srila Prabhupada several times would criticize mundane politicians and mundane so-called swamis, pseudo-swamis, for making commentaries on Bhagavad Gita, but wanting to take out Lord Krishna. One of such commentaries was pertaining to a very famous Indian politician and scholar who had made a comment that when Krishna says to surrender to him, it is not to the person Krishna, but the unborn, non-describable, Brahman. He was avoiding Krishna. And Prabhupada was very critical. Prabhupada was critical of anybody who was diminishing or not properly presenting Bhagavad Gita. As a matter of fact, one of the first points that Srila Prabhupada makes in his own introduction to Bhagavad Gita is that he describes that some people had been reading Bhagavad Gita, but they did not understand that there were so many different editions. This is on page, the introduction, just after the Sanskrit verses we read. Srila Prabhupada says, Bhagavad Gita is also known as Gita Upanishad. It is the essence of Vedic knowledge and one of the most important Upanishads in Vedic literature. Of course, there are many commentaries in English on the Bhagavad Gita, and one may question the necessity for another one. This present edition can be explained in the following way. Recently, an American lady asked me to recommend an English translation of Bhagavad Gita. Of course, in America, there are so many editions of Bhagavad Gita available in English. But as far as I've seen, not only in America, but also in India, none of them can be strictly said to be authoritative, because in almost every one of them, the commentator has expressed his own opinions without touching the spirit of Bhagavad Gita as it is. The spirit of Bhagavad Gita is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita itself. It is just like this. If we want to take a particular medicine, then we have to follow the directions written on a label. We cannot take the medicine according to our own whim or the direction of a friend. It must be taken according to the directions on the label or the directions given by a physician. Similarly, Bhagavad Gita should be taken or accepted as it is directed by the speaker himself. The speaker of Bhagavad Gita is Lord Krishna, Sri Krishna. He is mentioned on every page of Bhagavad Gita as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Bhagavan. So this is the point here. My good friend Vishwakarma Prabhu was telling me recently that he started to read again Bhagavad Gita as it is, scrutinizingly, analyzing everything very carefully. Because sometimes devotees will ask, and I know I've been criticized for this, well, why do you spend so much time with all this word for word and all this Sanskrit prayers and this and that? What are you doing with that? What is that? Well, first of all, this is an instruction I directly received personally from Srila Prabhupada himself in 1977. And for those of us who have seen how Srila Prabhupada himself conducted classes by reading the Sanskrit, by reading the word for word, and also Prabhupada recommending that his students, his followers, and his disciples should follow the same pattern. This is what Prabhupada wanted. We have to educate ourselves, not thinking that because we have a book on the shelf, therefore automatically we know everything. No. We are eternal students at the lotus feet of the Master. This is our position, to always take the humble, meek position and to submissively hear from the Acharya, Srila Prabhupada. And then new meetings, new realization, new knowledge will flow in from that strong faith in Krishna and Srila Prabhupada. And somebody may say, well, who the hell are you to say something like that? Well, it's not me. It's said in the Shvetashvatara Upanishad. Yasya devi parabhaktir yata deve tata guru tasyete kachitaryartaha prakashanti mahatmanaha. This is given, the verdict in the Vedas, that for one who has firm faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna and the bona fide Acharya, for these persons, the entire meaning of the Vedic literatures is revealed. It is manifested. There's a certain misconception by certain class of people, so-called scholars and so-called pundits, who think that by grammatical knowledge, by simply jnana yoga, by studying the Sanskrit, then one will have a guaranteed spiritual advancement. Well, it doesn't quite work like that. There was one disciple of Srila Prabhupada, some of you may know, his name was Sudama Maharaj. He told me a story how one time he went to see Srila Prabhupada and asked Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada, you have so many disciples, senior devotees, GBCs, temple presidents, sannyasis, and many of them are very learned. They can quote Sanskrit, Bengali, so many languages. They have learned the philosophy very nicely, but I don't know any Sanskrit. Sudama says, I don't know much Bengali. So how should I preach? Prabhupada told him that Krishna consciousness does not depend upon knowledge of Sanskrit or Bengali. Just repeat what you have heard from me in my books and present the philosophy according to your understanding. That is sufficient. So even though one may not know Sanskrit, Sanskrit is not necessary, although if one wants to progress, one can see that Prabhupada many times in his purports and lectures quotes Sanskrit and Bengali everywhere. Like recently, one devotee pointed out to me that Prabhupada preaches in a very systematic pattern, in a very, very organized, systematic pattern. If you look at some of these websites like the Veda Base or PrabhupadaBooks.com or Prabhupada Vani, you can see when you look at some of Prabhupada's lectures, there is constantly these lines of Sanskrit and Bengali verses, different quotations, half line, 2 lines, full verses quoted so many times. Why? Because Srila Prabhupada is referring to the authority of Vedic literatures every time he speaks. He's not speaking from mental speculation. He's not concocting. He's not manufacturing. He's just presenting according to his very high level of realization. But he's quoting the Shastra. So while on one hand, Srila Prabhupada told some devotees that it is not completely necessary to study the Sanskrit, Prabhupada himself encouraged the devotees to learn not the whole grammar. Prabhupada did not want us to waste time learning 12 years, spending 12 years studying Sanskrit grammar. No. Prabhupada said, just study my books, study the purports in my books, and present them. It is not complicated. Some of you, or most of you, must be familiar. There was a famous letter Prabhupada wrote to Brahmananda Swami that he was complaining to Srila Prabhupada that many devotees were spending time in places like Los Angeles and New York, Chicago, arguing with various members of other religiosities in the streets while trying to distribute books. And Prabhupada's reply and attitude says, it is best if you just give him one of my books. What will your 5 or 10 minutes talking will do? You know, this is a very profound statement by Srila Prabhupada. He's given us the key of how to preach. Give him the association of the pure devotee. Give him the knowledge contained in Srila Prabhupada's books, whether it's a small book, big book, whatever book we can distribute. And this is the greatest kindness, the greatest charity, the greatest benefit, the greatest mercy that one can give. Just recently, one god sister made a statement on Facebook, and this is really not meant as a criticism. She's a very nice, exemplary Vaishnavi, and she was saying that Prabhupada in 1977, and she was very correct, requested that these sannyas orders should be stopped in his society. This was actually a lecture in 1977 on January 7th in Bombay, Maharashtra, India. Unfortunately, that instruction was never followed. And then she mentioned as part of her explanation that so many sannyasis were there at the Kumbh Mela in January of 1977, which was like a week later than January 7th. And Prabhupada was also again criticizing the sannyasis. And her point was, well, there was so much official renunciation or apparent renunciation, but there was no love, no compassion, no kindness, no mercy. And this is a very good point. It is not simply that spiritual life is a practice of austerities and restrictions and rules and regulations. Yeah, these are there. We follow these things. But one has to develop the intelligence and the compassion to help people, not to become harsh and to become judgmental, to become authoritarian. This is not the mentality of a devotee, of a soft-hearted devotee. And she was right. She was making a very valid point. And this is, we've seen how many devotees after Srila Prabhupada, how devotees were treated, how the children were treated, how the women were treated. Because as Vaishnavas, it's important to understand the philosophy. It's not simply that we're bookworms trying to quote something or present so many different things Prabhupada has given. We have to exhibit some compassion to the fallen souls and from compassion to the Vaishnavas. It is described in the 11th canto of the Bhagavatam, in the Uddhava Gita, the teachings of Lord Krishna to Uddhava. There's the three kinds of Vaishnavas. And the Madhyama Vaishnava, or Madhyama Bhakta, or sometimes called Madhyama Adhikari, one of the characteristics is to make friendship with devotees. Now, this is a very important point. This is an extremely important point. One has to learn how to make friendship with devotees. It is not simply that some, what I call the lassi and samosa sampradaya, that people get together, or Haribol, how do you do? Everything okay? Thank you very much. Here's your lassi, here's your samosa. Good night. And if you try to discuss anything of relevance for Prabhupada's mission, Prabhupada's movement, or trying to correct something, oh, I don't have time for this. This is all politics. No. This is what I call this lassi and samosa sampradaya, sahajiya. Third-class devotees, nonsensical, ignorant. Ajnanam anandosti. There's a famous proverb in Sanskrit, and all of you must be familiar with this. Ignorance is bliss. Persons with very little, with poor fund of knowledge, with very little discrimination. For them, ignorance is very important. They find that to be very blissful. But this is not the attitude of a Vaishnava. We see in the Upadeshamrita of Jiva Goswami, he described, of Rupa Goswami, he gives a description, what is love, what is compassion, what is mercy? Dadati pratigrinyati guhyam akyati prichati bhukte bhojayate cheva shadvidam priti lakshanam. Love and compassion is described 6 things. To reveal one's minds, to hear the revelation of one's mind from another person, to exchange devotional foodstuffs, and to give presents and receive presents. So this is the definition of love, how to develop love by Rupa Goswami, the foremost authority in our sampradaya. Now, I can understand how sometimes devotees may have some soft spot for to be kind and to be sweet and to be tactful and to be pleasant. Well, these are nice and good. But if one developed the qualities of a devotee, all of this will be included. We are not sentimental sahajiyas. Everything is based on Shastra. If one wants to develop love of Krishna, there's a process. There is a systematic process. And we have to be aware of that process. Prabhupada described that process. Recently, I saw on Facebook, some devotees sent me some writing that had been given by a very senior devotee. He was one of Prabhupada's first devotees in 1966. He lives in Florida. And he was expressing some of his views or opinions with regards to the original authorized system of Ritvik initiation. He did not seem to agree with that. And he mentioned in one of his writings how a Madhyamadikari should direct his disciples and teach him to go to an Uttamadikari who can teach him his Swarup. Oh, really? Well, let's see what Prabhupada has to say about that. For those who know a little bit, Swarup Siddhi refers to one's eternal relationship with Krishna. I'll be reading a small conversation. Do I have enough time here? 7:57. It's an interesting discussion with Srila Prabhupada that took place in Bombay on April 25th, 1977. Morning conversation in Bombay, India on April 25th, 1977. Devotee, very good. What are now this man proclaimed himself to be Tirtha Guru. What are some of the other ways that they will say? I remember Jagannath was saying that he, Prabhupada, Tirtha Guru, if he's able to take him to the temple, then Tirtha Guru. Otherwise, he's a guru, cow, Tirtha, cow, that's all. Devotee, say like that. Prabhupada, yes, laughs. Tell him like that. He's unable to show Jagannath, then how he is guru? It is guru's responsibility to bring him to, that is Upanayana. Upanayana, this sacred thread, means the guru brings him near God. Devotee, yeah, this man gives them some thread, makes them touch his feet, the whole thing, offer coconut. Prabhupada, he's foolish rascal. What can be done? Devotee, yeah. Jagannath, when he was telling us about this Babaji, he said that there's also these Babajis, they claim to be a guru for giving initiation into their Swarupa. Prabhupada, Swarup Siddhi? Devotee, yes, Swarup Siddhi. So we can mention this as also rascaldom. Prabhupada, yes, what can be done? Cheaters there are. If you want to be cheated, who can save you? He has made guru without asking his guru. He submits to others. Then how can we save him? Swarup Siddhi is not that you do all nonsense things in Swarup Siddhi. Swarup Siddhi means when he is actually liberated, he understands what is his relationship with Krishna. That is Swarup Siddhi. And Prabhupada goes on April 25th, devotee, is that called the elephant offense? Prabhupada, yes, Vaishnava Parad, the weak and the fools, they will be victimized. What can be done? Tirtha Guru. The Panda is accepted Tirtha Guru. But it takes to Jagannath Temple and the other holy places, gives him instruction about the holy places and so on, shelter, food in this way. Devotee, there is such a thing. Prabhupada, yes, because I'm unknown, so he helps me in every respect. So Vaishnava accepts everyone as guru. Shiksha Guru, Diksha Guru, Tirtha Guru. There's no harm. This is no harm. But what is this rascal? No, you cannot sit down here. You take the flag and pay me 100 rupees. If you are so rascal, who can save you? Devotee, Tirtha Guru. Tirtha Guru, that is called. That risk is there because in India, there are so many places, holy places. If you are not expert, you will be victimized. Devotee, what about this Swarup Siddhi? Prabhupada, Swarup Siddhi, that is bogus. Swarup Siddhi is not that you do all nonsense things in Swarup Siddhi. Swarup Siddhi means when he is actually liberated, he understands what is his relationship with Krishna. That is Swarup Siddhi, Sakya. So that is far away. Unless, if he's such a fool, then where is Swarup Siddhi? devotee. That realization doesn't come by some initiation from some Babaji, Prabhupada. That automatically comes when there is liberated, not before. So the Babaji gives this mantra for Swarup Siddhi. Devotee, Prabhupada, yes, this is going on. Devotee, this man, he has a book now of these. This man from Puri, Jagannath Puri, he collects letters from each one of them and he keeps them in a book and he shows, Prabhupada, yes, that they have given me. Devotee, so many disciples. Prabhupada, the Vrindavan also they do. These things are there, their business. They smoke ganja, opium, ganja. Pan they are chewing. Fish, Tirtha Guru. In Vrindavan, the Jata Guru, Kas Goswami, they do like that. He'll not touch his water even, and still he's disciple. Devotee, yeah, but this is such a contradiction that the man makes someone his disciple, but he will not take him properly. He'll not take his food. He'll not touch his water, and still he's guru. That's all. In Vrindavan, it is going on. So many visitors come, they are victimized. They've got their step in that way. So the point is, this example that was given that a Madhyamadikari should take his disciple to the Uttamadikari, who's going to teach him his Swarup. Prabhupada did not encourage this. We have to follow Srila Prabhupada, not the interpretation of speculators to whom it may concern. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Yashodanandana Prabhu, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. And we have to always realize or remember that Prabhupada is the transparent via media for Lord Chaitanya and Krishna because of his total surrender to the service of his spiritual master and the mission of Lord Chaitanya. A lot of times, and we were discussing this, myself and Yashodanandana yesterday, people want to classify devotees. Oh, you're a Kanishta Adhikari, you're a Madhyama Adhikari, you're an Uttama Adhikari. This is a proper understanding of position as one makes advancement, but to classify one as Kanishta or Uttama Adhikari isn't necessary for us. Outside of the fact that Srila Prabhupada is Uttama Adhikari, bona fide spiritual master, our position is very simple, Krishna Katha. We are the servants of the servants of the servants of the spiritual master. That is our position. Not that we go around, oh, I'm Kanishta Adhikari, I'm Madhyama Adhikari. And in some cases, some people, they pretend they're Uttama Adhikari. And that is bogus guru. So bogus guru is a contamination of the teachings of Krishna consciousness and our spiritual master. And Prabhupada was always warning us before his departure not to fall prey to this problem that existed in his group, the Gaudiya Math. Because in the Gaudiya Math, after the disappearance of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada, then all these problems came up amongst his godbrothers trying to seize the assets of the spiritual master, his temples, his treasuries, and a position on the Vyasasana. And this was going on. And Prabhupada was minimized, as you know, Krishna Katha, he was minimized by his godbrothers in the Gaudiya Math. And therefore, you can see, he had been given the instruction to go to the West and preach by Bhaktisiddhanta, but nobody gave him any support. Yes, they gave him lip service support. But in fact, they were only interested in personal ambition. So this was going on in the Gaudiya Math. And Prabhupada said in a very valuable lecture that I was just listening to, that this great movement of Bhaktisiddhanta's was destroyed. And he had personal experience of it. He, Prabhupada, our Prabhupada, had personal experience of the destruction of that great mission. Just think about it. The movement had spread by Bhaktisiddhanta to 60 mats, 60 temples. They had thousands of followers, disciples, and yet it collapsed. How is that possible? And Prabhupada emerged as the spiritual master for the entire earth by the grace of his guru. And we were just reading in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the final chapter of Anchalila, that Prabhupada said that they predicted, it was predicted, that a representative of Srila Vyasadeva would appear. And that representative has been demonstrated practically by the work of our guru, Srila Prabhupada. He is the bona fide spiritual master from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. But do the people in the Gaudiya Math see that? No. Actually, they minimized him. And even some of his godbrothers or members of the Gaudiya Math came to America after Prabhupada's departure, and they minimized Prabhupada's preachings. They said that Prabhupada was not correct, that Prabhupada did not present the highest truths. And this has been recorded for public view online. And yet some of our godbrothers even go to them. Why would you do that? Why would you associate with Prabhupada's godbrothers when Prabhupada on multiple occasions, including a letter to myself personally, told us, do not associate with my godbrothers. Why? Because he had seen in his own experience that movement destroyed by whimsical behavior of his godbrothers trying to usurp the position of the assets of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada and put themselves in the position of Acharya. So many Acharyas, and Prabhupada talks about that. There are so many imitation gurus, so many imitation gods in India, so many people pretending, posing, and posturing, and that has been, and he was warning us about this over and over and over again, and still people deny it. There was a famous letter sent to Rupanuga Prabhu in 1974. And Prabhupada stressed there in that letter, do not associate with my godbrothers. And if you look that letter up, everyone, you can see the detailed instructions he was giving to not only him, to everyone. And yet, think about it, after Prabhupada's departure, he went with Kirtananda Swami, so-called, at that time, to see Sridhar for instructions on how to handle the movement after Prabhupada's departure. Totally misunderstood. The instructions that Prabhupada was giving us on to avoid the association of the form breakers, the people that would destroy the movement, just like they destroyed Bhaktisiddhanta's movement. And then this movement that Prabhupada created has been destroyed by the sectarian groups who have accepted the bogus position of guru in the disciplic succession. Bogus. It's fraudulent, mischievous, money, position, temples, hundreds of millions of dollars stolen by the ISKCON mafia. It is a mafia, criminal behavior. Someone could say, well, no, it's not. Yes, it is. We're not going to discuss mafia. I'm very familiar with the mafia, criminal mafia here in Hamilton. The head of the mafia lived across the street from me and was just murdered. So in the same way, this mafia business has been going on in ISKCON. And this is what we're fighting against. This is a fratricidal war, Krishna Kata. It is not simply whimsical. It's serious because honest, intelligent, sincere people are being misled by these people, misrepresented this philosophy for their own personal gain. And if someone can't see it, they should try to listen, because the position of pure devotee is very unique in this world. I want to read a section and then we'll go to our discussion just briefly. I'm reading, as all of you know, and I'm sure all of you are reading it too, the Bhagavad Gita. Text 29, contents of the Gita summarized. And I want to read a back end section of the purport, the last part of the purport to you. And Prabhupada's explaining something very valuable for us to understand here. It is very difficult to find a man who perfectly understands the position of the soul, the super soul, the atomic soul, their respective functions, relationships, and all other major and minor details. I'll read that again. It is very difficult to find a man or a woman who perfectly understands the position of the soul, the super soul, the atomic soul, their respective functions, relationships, and all other major and minor details. And it is still more difficult to find a man who has actually derived full benefit from knowledge of the soul and who is able to describe the position of the soul in different aspects. But if somehow or other, one is able to understand the subject matter of the soul, then one's life is successful. The easiest process for understanding the subject matter of self, however, is to accept the statements of the Bhagavad Gita spoken by the greatest authority, Lord Krishna, without being deviated by other theories. But it also requires a great deal of penance and sacrifice, either in this life or in the previous ones, before one is able to accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now here is the key, Prabhus. Here is the key. Krishna can, however, be known as such by the causeless mercy of the pure devotee and by no other way. So this is why we're stressing Prabhupada's position as the bona fide spiritual master for all of us moving forward in time. Yashodanandana Prabhu, if you could further comment.
I want to go back to this topic that I was discussing about Swarup Siddhi. It's also called Siddha Deha, which means the spiritual body that one attains to render service to Krishna in the spiritual world.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to read from a text of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 8, text 229. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 8, text 229. Srila Prabhupada says, after thinking of Radha and Krishna and their pastimes for a long time, and after getting completely free from material contamination, one is transferred to the spiritual world. There, the devotee attains an opportunity to serve Radha and Krishna as one of the gopis. Purport. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments that the word Siddha Deha perfected spiritual body refers to a body beyond the material gross body composed of 5 elements and the subtle astral body composed of mind, intelligence, and false ego. In other words, one attains a completely spiritual body fit to render service to the transcendental couple, Radha and Krishna. Sarvopadi vinirmuktam tat paratvena nirmalam. Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 19, text 170. When one is situated in his spiritual body, which is beyond this gross and subtle material body, is fit to serve Radha and Krishna. That body is called Siddha Deha. The living entity attains a particular type of gross body in accordance with his past activities and mental condition. In this life, the mental condition changes in different ways, and the same living entity gets another body in the next life according to his desires. The mind, intelligence, and false ego are always engaged in an attempt to dominate material nature. According to that subtle astral body, one attains a gross body to enjoy the object of one's desires. According to the activities of the present body, one prepares another subtle body, and according to the subtle body, one attains another gross body. This is the process of material existence. When one is spiritually situated and does not desire a gross or subtle body, he attains his original spiritual body, as confirmed by the Bhagavad Gita, Tyaktva deham punarjanma naitimam iti Arjuna. I suggest that anybody who is interested in this topic should really make a note of this text. Madhya Lila, chapter 8, text 229. And this explains the actual path of how to attain a Siddha Deha or Swarup Siddhi, not this artificial process that was recommended by our God brother in his posting on Facebook. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yes, the authority of the Vedas as presented by Srila Prabhupada is our source of information in every regard. And not mental concoction, not opinion. Prabhupada explains, Yashodanandana Prabhu, as you know, that we do not have an opinion, just like everyone has an opinion, especially when it's involving prajalpa, nonsense conversations. A nonsense conversation based on rumors, character assassinations, fault-finding like that, is opinion. I have this opinion of this person or that person. I heard about this, rumor mongering like that. Devotee speaks on the basis of Shastra, a basis of truth, which is found in Scripture. I had one person ask me that question, a student of ours, who's reading the books. How come you always quote Sanskrit? Why do you do that? Why don't you just speak in English? And Prabhupada explains, we quote the Sanskrit because this is the truth based on Shastra. Just like a lawyer quotes the law in order to establish a precedent in the case. He quotes the law. So the law books of mankind, the law books of life, are in our scriptures, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, these key books of understanding. These truths are formed in these succinct verses. And then Prabhupada elaborately explains them in his purports, which illuminate our understanding, especially Krishna Katha, for all of us neophytes. What do we know? Before we didn't know anything. All of a sudden we start to learn a bit, and then we think, oh, I've become so advanced. No, we're getting the information from the bona fide spiritual master, who's the incarnation, the manifestation of Srila Vyasadeva right before us. This golden opportunity to get insight that's not available to anyone hardly, except those that accept the pure devotee as the bona fide representative of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So these insights are very, very valuable information. And in the Bhagavad Gita and the other scriptures, they're revealed through the shlokas. Yes, these succinct, concise bits of information. And there are millions of them, despite the fact in the Western world, people aren't even aware they exist. You say to somebody, oh, have you ever heard of the Gita? No, never heard of it. Have you ever heard of the Vedas? No, never heard of it. Yet, there are millions and millions of concise statements of truth in these scriptures, and people in general are not aware of them. They don't even exist for them. And therefore, they're lost in this material world of confusion, delusion, bewilderment. Completely lost. Like in Canada and America. The people here are completely lost. Millions and millions of people, totally bewildered by the material energy. And we're walking around, we're looking at it, we're going, oh my God, is this an insane asylum? Yes, it is. It's completely crazy because people have no knowledge. And that knowledge of transcendence was brought to us by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, and unfortunately it's been contaminated now with so many different sects and groups and bogus gurus. So we have to be very careful in our pursuit of knowledge and not deviate from this proper understanding of Guru Tattva. This is not just whimsical, but very serious. Krishna Katha in Sacramento. Maybe you could share some insights for us this morning based on the discussions of this program.
Hey, Krishna, can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear, sir. Captain.
Hey, Jai Vishwakarma Prabhu, Yashodanandana Prabhu. Thank you so much. Pranams. The class again is our connection, everyone on this live feed and everyone that will watch this class in the future off our YouTube channel, Hare Krishna Society, will receive Srila Prabhupada's imparted wisdom because you both are repeating very nicely without any deviation. And this is the bona fide method. And if anyone wants to get the bona fide method, it's tuning into these classes. You mentioned Yashodanandana about the, Lassi Samosa friendship. That, unfortunately, is what I see so much at the temples that I visit. But the real relationship of friendship is when devotees are only engaged in speaking about, engaged in activities that please Srila Prabhupada. This is the developing friendship. This is the same developing relationship that we all have waiting for us in the spiritual sky, whether it's the Vaikuntha planets or Goloka Vrindavan, the topmost planet. Our relationship is with each other, serving the servant of the servant, serving Srila Prabhupada, who is serving his spiritual master, and up the chain, up the ladder to Srimati Radharani, to Lord Chaitanya. So the nectar of instruction gives a very nice, I put it up, but this is really the way that we exchange friendship and love as devotees is by offering gifts in charity, accepting charitable gifts. It's a natural tendency to want to give a gift and receive a gift. It's reciprocal. Love is always reciprocal. Revealing one's mind in confidence, very important. We're drowning in this material world and we're watching others drown. So we have to listen and be there for another devotee who's confiding in us confidentially. about what's happening, right? Maybe they're not as strong right in that moment, so you have to be a good listener. Inquiring confidentially and accepting prasadam and offering prasadam. And these are the 6 symptoms of love shared by one another. So I am developing a relationship of friendship with everyone on this call because I listen intently to, and I read intently to everyone's posting on the chat and to everyone's realizations. So someone, for example, let's just name someone, Darbo Aban. I've never met him personally, but I have developed a relationship with him based on his speaking. Similarly, I've never personally met Vishwakarma and Yashoda Nandana Prabhu, Garuda Prabhu, Nilesh Sharma. Doesn't matter because we're with this magic of the of online Shakti, we're meeting each other and we're coming together for the same purpose, to glorify the position, the extreme exalted position of Srila Prabhupada. And then that enlivens us to engage in what we know pleases him. And what we know pleases him, isn't it already so obvious to everyone? Even the Sahajiyas will admit, yeah, Prabhupada's books, yeah, that's what pleases him. Even they can't escape from that fact. The distribution of his original, unadulterated, unchanged, is where Prabhupada is present on every page. When you change a page, even one alphabet, Prabhupada is no longer present. And there's no apologies for this. There's no slight, maybe compromise, no compromise. His original books are sanctioned by Krishna because they are the words of Krishna. Our spiritual master is a bona fide representative of Krishna directly. And that's why we come up with the same theme in every one of these classes, because there isn't any more greater service that we can do right now in this universe. Yes, Harinam and cow protection and mothers and women and children protection, prasad distribution, festivals, they're all important. They're all pleasing to Prabhupada, but there is no one singular higher activity and engagement that will please Prabhupada right now, is to redirect the whole movement back to printing his original books. This is the highest thing we can engage in. That's my realization from today's. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you, my friends. Hare Krishna.
Thank you
Jai
very
Shri
much. And I just wanted to clarify that as well, that the theme is being constantly repeated in the classes because it is being constantly repeated by Srila Prabhupada. As you notice, all the references to the Shastras reaffirm this position that you must associate with a bona fide spiritual master. And when you take that understanding and apply it to the reading of the books, then the books come alive. So we encourage everyone to constantly study week after week. Time is marching, and the most valuable asset that you possess is your time. Now, a lot of people, we spend our time doing all kinds of maintenance of our sustenance, of our body. And it takes time, of course, cleaning the house and cooking in the kitchen and shopping or going for your job, earning money like that. Time is a very valuable asset. And actually, Chanakya Pandit said that it is the most, time cannot be replaced for millions of gold coins. So once you lose the time that you possess in simply maintenance of the body and relationship, etc., you can't get that back. It's interesting to note when you're seriously ill, and I know Krishna Kata was in a major car accident and had to spend quite a bit of time in the hospital recovering recently in the last few years. and getting back on his feet. What do you think about when you're in the hospital, when you're in a serious situation of health? Well, you don't think about your house and the garden and cutting the roses and mopping the floor. No, you're there in the hospital, and the people are focusing that are there on trying to keep you alive. And you're praying in your heart, please, God, save me. And that's your focus. You're not worried about your car and whether there's enough air in the tires. You're not worried about any of this stuff that goes on every day. You're focused on trying to survive. So this seriousness should be there when you're living your life. Always remember that death, padam padam vipadam natesham. There is danger at every step in this world. I'll just finish up and then I'll ask Yashoda to complete the discussion. There's was a famous person here in the local area. His name was Boris Brott, and he was a promoter. The reason I knew about him because he had the Boris Brott Music Festival, and I was part of a community of promoters. I promoted the Burlington Jazz and Blues Festival. These were big events at the time. And so when I found out what happened to him one day recently, about a year ago, it really brought to my attention this danger at every step. Yashoda, this is what happened to him. It came in the paper. He went out for a walk. He lived in a somewhat, opulent neighborhood. So he went out for a walk to exercise and take care of his health. And guess what happened? Some guy drove down the street, drove up on the sidewalk and ran over him and killed him. Just like that. And when I heard that in the newspaper, when I saw it in the newspaper, I thought, there's danger at every step. At any moment, your life can be terminated by the circumstances that arise for whatever reasons. And therefore, when you have time, valuable time now that you can spend, the more that you spend it on cultivating the knowledge of Krishna consciousness through the bona fide spiritual master. Prabhupada said, this time is imperishable. This time you spend on Krishna consciousness, the results are never lost. But everything else, it can be gone in a flash. In 1 second, Krishna Kata? Finished. Right. And I know that you went through a very serious difficulty and you survived it. And here you're running with the ball down the field to preserve Prabhupada's legacy with all of us in these classes, in these books, in this opportunity to serve each other. And so this great. Is Krishna's mercy. Yes, it is. It brings tears to our eyes. So this is the great opportunity that we all share. We should try to, appreciate it the best we can with the time that we have while we're staying here in the material world. Yashoda Nandana, if you could finalize our talk today with a few wise words.
I know that this point has been discussed at length in this program before.
Yes.
Because many devotees have a sentimental notion that whatever vegetarian food has been presented in certain institutions makes it prasadam. There's a clear difference between bhoga, or unoffered food, and prasadam, which is offered food according to the instruction and the direction of the authorized Acharya Srila Prabhupada. Now, it's a pious belief to think that whatever we take from certain institutions is prasadam. Anybody can believe that. But is it really offered according to the instruction of the Acharya? And the reason I'm bringing this up is because we have to be very, very careful and very diligent, and sometimes put aside our sentiment or our emotions, even though they may be well-intentioned, and ascertain the facts. Prabhupada, when he brought his society together in the middle and late 60s, he developed a systematic program of how devotees should offer the bhoga. Sometimes they call it offering prasadam, but it's offering the bhoga so that it can become prasadam, the mercy of the Lord. There was a very systematic process. After Srila Prabhupada departed, some individuals in their collective wisdom thought it better to invent a new process, claiming that we are following the scriptures, we are following such and such mat, we are following such and such sampradaya. Okay, well, whatever they follow. But we do not find any record where Prabhupada discontinued or told devotees to stop or change the authorized method that he had introduced to offer bhoga so that it could become prasadam. Now, this is a very important point that devotees should consider. Very important point. We'll leave it at that for now. Thanks, everybody, for participating, and
Right.
we can conclude the program unless there is somebody on the program who would have any additional comments.
We want to move forward, bring up the kirtan, but I wanted to remind everyone we'll be back tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. in Eastern Canada for Srimad Bhagavatam reading from the original Delhi Bhagavatams, which Krishna Katha often displays for us. And we want to thank you. We want to thank you all for being involved with this sadhana practice, sadhana bhakti yoga practice weekly, 3 times a week, 4.5 hours out of 168 hours, where we make our humble attempt to explain our understandings based on the original books from Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Let's move forward with the kirtan, Prabhupada chanting using the bongo back from the 1966 era of the spreading of the Sankirtan movement.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances. We all offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Thanks everybody for participating in this program. Thanks Venkat Bhatta Prabhu for managing the program, Rupesh Prabhu, Vishwakarma Prabhu for hosting the program, and in Italy, our good friend Vijay Pandit Prabhu and all the other devotees, Matajis, everybody who participated. Please assemble tomorrow on or about 7 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time, corresponding to 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time, Eastern USA in Canada time. Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Yasodhanandan Prabhu. I really appreciate it.
Okay, who is speaking? Hello?
Rupa Manjari Devidasi.
Oh, Hare Krishna, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for participating. Very nice.
Yeah,
And thank you.
I'm so glad I
Thank-
was able to attend today.
Nice. Thank you for all of your nice postings on Facebook as well. You're posting some very nice things on Facebook. Please continue to do that. Hare
Oh,
Krishna.
thank you so much. You're so sweet. Thank you.
I get my sweetness from Venkat Bhatta Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Oh.
And Vishwakarma Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Jai, Jai.
Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnava Vangsha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathannitam Tang Sajivam Sadaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya